Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Crushing Through Life podcast with your hosts Rob and Jim. Check us out on YouTube. Go to youtube.com. In the search bar, type in Crushing Through Life, where you can watch this podcast on top of listening to it and view our beautiful faces. Why not, right?
That's right.
And on top of watching our beautiful faces, you can click that beautiful little subscribe button. Excellent. It is July 2021.
Okay. Yep. I should let you finish, but
I know. You know what? I did it on purpose. It's July 13th, 2021. I wanted to see what your reaction would be because I got the date wrong last episode. And as always, let's start off with today's quote. We hold ourselves back in ways both big and small by lacking self-confidence, by not raising our hands, and by pulling back when we should be leaning in. And that quote is from Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl is an American business executive, billionaire, and philanthropist. She currently serves as the chief operating officer at Facebook. Wonder what they do. In June 2012, she was elected to Facebook's board of directors, becoming the first woman to serve on its board. Prior to joining Facebook, Sandberg was vice president of global online sales and operations at Google. Wonder what they do. And was involved in the philanthropic arm at Google. Before that, Sandberg served as chief of staff for the United States Secretary of the Treasury, Lawrence Summers. Quite the career Sheryl Sandberg has had. In 2012, she was named in the Time 100, an annual list of the most influential people in the world.
Pretty crazy. I mean, it must be like to get to the chief operating officer of Facebook is, pretty tall task.
Exactly. And, hopefully that startup company does really well in the future. And, I wish them all the best, Facebook. How
long have you had Facebook for? And also,
man, I was just thinking that. Facebook, when did we get Facebook? Oh, well, it came out in 2006, right? Actually, let's do a quick search on that.
I actually had this conversation with somebody on the weekend, and now he was only 27, so
2004.
So 2004, he didn't get it right away, because he would have been 10. But for me, somebody made me Facebook because it was one of those things. I wasn't going to do it. I also a couple girls from high school made me my MySpace page. It just wasn't something that I was going to do, I guess. Now it's just, people have Facebook to actually, I guess, keep in touch. And it's just, it's just such a standard thing. You just add somebody to Facebook that you work, maybe you meet them at work and you become friends and, you get to know a little bit more about their life. But back then, when Facebook first came out, it was more for, university students. And I remember having not gone to university right away. I feel like that was part of it. I probably would have gotten it when everybody else did. But I think I can't remember. I think maybe Mark and Greg made it for me.
One of our old-time high school friends.
Yeah, and they just
there you go.
But that would have been maybe 07 or sometime around.
I think I got it. I think I got it around 05, 06, something like that. Definitely at the tail end.
Pioneer, are you?
Yeah, Pioneer for sure. Yeah, but definitely at the tail end of high school. I think I remember the original OG Facebook profile. Everyone just had walls. That's all you could do. There's no groups or anything like that. You just post on each other's wall, and it's just crazy.
No
watching
chat.
It grow. No chat. Yeah. No family or parents. It was mainly just for your friends.
Right? It was all. Not. I don't even think too many people over 30 either. It was.
Yeah.
It was kind of a college, university, and then in that time frame type thing.
Yeah. Very much so.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, dude, I got my car picked up from that recall.
Okay.
As you would
progress.
recall. Yeah, making progress to getting this car sold. The guy calls me and he's like, so you wanted to get a safety done, and I'm like, yeah, let's get a safety done. It'd be good for it'd be good for the ad. It's only $100.
Right.
If you're buying a used car, you'd probably want to make sure it's got a safety check. And he's like, I can't safety this because it needs brakes. So I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, you need front. Your rear rotors are done, and your pads are like at 2 or whatever. And if you're gonna do the front and back, you might as well do your rotors all the way around. And I was like, you know what? Just yeah, for sure, do it, because then I can even add like that as part of the ad, right? This car, brand new brakes, got the safety check, got the invoices to prove it, but it was like,
it's just always one more thing.
Dude, it was like I was just getting an oil change too on top of doing that recall, and I was expecting just like $100 bill. But no, $1,300.
13.
Awesome.
I was scared to
awesome.
ask. Wow.
Yeah, $1,300. I mean, that's what a brake job is, like a full round. You're looking at $500 for both sides, front or back, right? So if you're doing both plus tax and labor, I got a detail too. So on top of that, I wanted to make sure the car is like super clean. I took everything out of the car. No one's allowed to drive it right now. Took the baby seat out. It's like pristine. So, whoever starts to contact me about the ad, they can drive a fresh looking car to try to sell it.
You shouldn't be allowed within 30 feet of this thing. It's been detailed. Exactly. That's my last drive. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We've just been driving the Mazda everywhere we go.
Makes sense. You don't want to waste the money too on the detailing.
Yeah, 100%.
For accident-prone Robbie over here.
That's it, man. Don't want to spill any drinks in that car, that's for sure.
Really hot day out there, Terry. You want to go get an ice cream cone or something? I'll drive. Well, that's good though, man. Like obviously you're it's kind of nice to see you follow through on this from, as simple as asking Reddit back in the day but a while ago. And now obviously the recall kind of helped, I think, maybe give you a little
definitely
boost
push the decision. Yeah, definitely push the decision to, like, besides the financial aspect, like just to get rid of the car, like it's time to get rid of it.
Well, for the timing more so, right? Because you already knew you wanted to do it, but it's kind of just, it's never going to be the top priority, and all of a sudden now you've kind of made it one, and then that's what I mean with, like, so it's good job following through.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. It's funny talking about old things that we were a part of, just like talking about old, like how when Facebook first started. Do you remember watching Tom Green in the 90s? You remember the Tom Green show?
So you ever watch that show? Maybe I don't know. I feel like I'm more in the majority here, but I did not like Tom Green. I feel like he was a very, very
pretty vulgar, right?
You liked him or you hated him kind of thing. And I don't know, maybe that's what it was, because I don't really remember when I picture Tom Green, I picture him falling into the lake or the ocean or whatever it is in Charlie's Angels and his name is Chad. And he's just like sinking, saying that Chad was great or something.
Chad was great. Yeah. So it's just like weird, like things that you would say and all that. But yeah, I ended up stumbling upon a post of Tom Green's channel, and I remember like he had that, like, cable television shows, a bunch of pranks and all that, and then he was in a bunch of movies, and then he had a posting about on YouTube that caught my eye, and I was like, wondering what Tom Green's doing during this whole pandemic, and it led me down a really big rabbit hole.
I wonder what Tom Green's been doing for 15 years.
Yeah. So he's been doing his own, like, he had like his own MTV show, I think, at one point. Then he had his own show inside of his house, which was like a talk show, but like celebrity guests would come over. And then he had, I think, a podcast and all that. Anyways, right now, because I dived into his channel, which is just hilarious. The Tom Green that you know now is not the same Tom Green from the 90s.
So, you know what, thinking that, I was while you were describing it, I was wondering, if he has a podcast that talks about all the stupid stuff he used to get up to, I wonder if I could stand his voice long enough to listen to it, because I bet you he has some pretty crazy stories. So
Definitely
it
some pretty
would
crazy
be pretty
stories.
entertaining.
Yeah, definitely some pretty crazy stories. But what really caught my eye is that in his YouTube channel, what he's up to right now during this whole pandemic, was 4 months into COVID. He was he's like, I got to get out of my house, right? Because you can't do anything, and everything's kind of just Zoom calls and all that. He ended up using his money from which he said from his one of his movies, Freddy Got Fingered. He's like, yeah, I used my Freddy Got Fingered money to buy a van and made it like a sick camper, like a really, really cool decked out solar camper, this big van.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's doing is he's traveling across North America in his van with his dog and recording it and live streaming it. And it was actually pretty sweet because he was stopping. I was watching the series from the beginning. Scroll back, and he was showing this really, really cool van. And something I didn't know about Tom Green was that he's a techie. So he likes and knows the technology.
Wouldn't predict it to look at the man. I'm going to stop picking on him now. But
yeah. But he's recording music on the road. He's producing music on the road on top of recording these beautiful scenes and shots. And one of the episodes, he stopped at the Mojave Desert. That's got all like these Joshua trees and all that. And I think that's in LA. He stopped at this like little like really, really, really old and ancient city civilization. I forget the name of the civilization, but
is it
or the city?
Is it in it's in North America?
Yeah, it's in North America. I think it's in New Mexico, if I recall correctly. But it was like this old ancient city that is still kind of standing, and it's just bricks and all that. And there's no one there, so it's dead silent. But he was taking all these really, really cool shots, and the shots were very, very professional. He's got this drone, 4K cameras, editing with his dog and all that. And it was really cool. It was like, this is the kind of stuff I would get up to if I was just probably single right now in my 30s, and I would go on this like, I think, spiritual journey and just like drive to places. And I think a lot of people are doing that.
I admire people that can do it. I'm not one that can go alone, but it's funny that you said that, actually, because I mean, obviously I had no idea he was doing it, but Jess has a friend that's doing the same thing. They bought a van and they made it nice enough to kind of sleep in and live out of, and they're just traveling up the coast of the United States. And yeah, you're right. Like, I think more and more people are doing that. My mom's one of my mom's friends that I kind of grew up with. She's basically like an aunt, as if I didn't have enough of them. But like, so basically family. Her daughter did that in, I want to say, Australia or New Zealand. She was gone for a long time and actually got affected by COVID coming back. But someone who it was the coolest Instagram to follow, with all the pictures that they have. Obviously, the scenery is amazing, but just a totally different lifestyle. Here's Jess and I haven't left the house during kind of the tail end of pandemic, and they were trying to figure out how long they were going to be stuck in that whatever one of those countries was, for how long they were going to be stuck there, and just the pictures and stuff. So I can imagine, on a Tom Green budget, how cool the toys must be that he has, right? Like, the van, probably not, one of those like creepy vans you think of, like just a white, it could be, but I bet you it's probably relatively nice if he's going to be traveling up and down and the countryside or across the continent with that. It's such a cool concept. I mean, I don't think I could, so to go back to it, I don't think I could do that alone. Like you said, if you were single and whatever, like if I was maybe single, I could picture doing that with a friend. But I don't know, like these people that do it alone, this is spiritual like quests, and then you just meet people all the time. It's just such a crazy concept. And a friend of mine actually in the States did he rode his bicycle, like not a motorcycle, like an actual bike, from basically Boston, I think, to LA, or somewhere in California, and he biked across the entire United States one summer, and it's crazy to watch him. He would post about it, and people were following him. So they'd like in a bike forum, and they'd have him stay at his house on couches, or at least over for a meal and a shower. Sometimes they were just parking in like random fields. It was a pretty cool story. So I mean, Tom Green's probably also pretty interesting.
It's really cool. I actually just Googled real quick what city it was. It's the Chaco Culture National Historic Park, which is spelled CHACO Culture National Historic Park, and that is in New Mexico,
Wow.
between Albuquerque and Farmington, and it's a remote canyon. It was like one of the most ancient ruins north of Mexico. The park preserves one of the most important pre-Columbian cultural and historical areas in the United States between AD 900 and 1150. So like, yeah, it's super, super old. And he stopped at this place and there's no one there and it's dead quiet. But it's like this huge city, just in ruins, and it's really cool. He's got all these really, really, really cool shots of this place. And he's making this like synth music with this place. He's describing what he's feeling and it's this emotional journey and all that. And I'm like, this is wild. I'm watching Tom Green go on a spiritual journey on YouTube throughout North America. And what's really cool is that he actually just landed at his parents' place in Ottawa. So they live in Ottawa. They have like a lake house in Ottawa.
Oh wow!
So
he's gone quite a ways.
He's gone quite a ways. He's now with his parents, and he's like doing like quick, funny little clips with his parents and all that, going kayaking.
How old is Tom Green now?
He actually is turning. It's funny that you say this. He's turning 50 pretty soon, because that was discussed in one of the clips. I think he's turning 50. I want to say in a month or so.
We're asking for a rough guess here, eh?
Yeah. Well, I think it was
I'm not
important.
sending him a birthday card, Rob.
No. Okay. It was important. The reason why I'm saying it's important because in the episode that I watched, like he was discussing his birthday was coming up, and I think he's celebrating his 50th birthday with his parents, July 30th. So he's turning 50 on July 30th. There you go. Right spouse is Drew Barrymore, married 2001, divorced 2002.
Yeah,
that was a short run.
Which is funny because she's the one who says that Chad was great in Charlie Jenkins.
Clearly it wasn't.
It was.
We're not good enough.
Don't be sad because it's over. Be happy because it happened, or whatever that is.
That's right. So switching gears, Euro game. Congratulations, Italia.
Yep.
Forza, dude. I'm so happy, man. It was a great game.
Now, I was actually rooting for it to come home. I wanted England to win.
And it went to Rome.
Yeah, it's going to Rome. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? So, obviously, really cool for Italy. And all of we have so many friends that are super Italian. So it's, well, I don't mean super in a bad way, but just, obviously into it. So where'd you watch the game?
Oh, we watched it at my parents' place.
Right on.
My dad, my brother, my mom. We actually had a lovely brunch while watching the game.
Was it pizza?
No, it wasn't pizza.
You have pizza every time you go over there.
Oh man, I know it's too much. No, it wasn't pizza this time. Actually, my dad was like, "Yeah, come over, watch the game, and we'll make waffles." He's got this like waffle iron. It's like industrial waffle iron, and it's amazing. He makes his own like strawberry sauce and blueberries and all that. So we ended up making waffles, but then my mom was like, let's do brunch. She like cooked up eggs and did bacon and all that. So it was actually really nice. And all of this was at 3:00 in the afternoon.
That's a late brunch.
It was a late brunch. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, the Euro game. And then of course we won in the PKs. And of course, just the ruckus that ensues. Like we didn't go out or do anything because we're not crazy. We're not going to Highway 7 if you guys know the Toronto area at all, because let's just like forget that. I'm not going to be stuck in traffic. But like we're just like went outside in the backyard and went swimming after the game, and we just hear all the honking and just the yelling just on the streets. It's so funny seeing that happen. And of course, when we're driving home, you're seeing everybody wave their flags. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So England scored I think they said the fastest
In the
goal
final.
in the final ever.
That's right.
And then
Yeah.
that was it for them. They just a bummer, I guess, obviously for them, with how exciting it was being, because it was in Wembley, that kind of thing. So,
Right.
but yeah, and so actually, I guess, for me, my weekend, we didn't even get to watch the game because I was up on a dock. So I was trying to find a stream of it, and then eventually, I went up there with a friend, Alex, and another one, Chris, and then Jess and my dad. And one of them was just like, "Why don't you just listen to it on TSN radio?" So I just, said, "Hey Siri, can you find it?" And all of a sudden, when it was like right during the penalty kick, so pretty crazy that we kind of got to listen to it. Shows you how big it is, though, because none of us really care too much. I think I actually ended up, I was in a pool, so I cared a bunch. I was already eliminated at this point, but I had some interest, but nobody else really cared. Like Jess was the only Italian one there, so probably happy with the outcome. But yeah, pretty nuts. But the weekend was pretty fun. Being up there, we left Friday midday, or Friday about 10 a.m. and got there just before 1. I want to say it's just not that bad of a drive. For some reason, we always have it rain on the way up, and then it didn't rain the entire time we were there. So pretty fortunate with the weather, and it rained afterwards. But great trip all around. So normally we actually stay at a cottage. In the past, my grandpa kind of rents one out, and then last year we rented it separately, and then this year it was taken. It's actually this place is already booked until next, until the end of 2022 summer.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of things are so in demand nowadays, right? It'd be tough.
Yeah, so we ended up staying at a motel about 5 minutes out of town, so really really close. Let's see.
Trying to find it.
Pardon?
Trying to find the motel, the name?
No, it's called the Stone Fountain Motel, which we joked about it in terms of how nice it was. So the Stone Fountain Suites and Stone Castle Suites. The name kept changing the entire trip, but honestly, it doesn't even matter, right? Because we spent the whole day at the lake. And then we would drive back. So the first night we actually get back, and so actually I should start it off. When we got there, the guy tried to charge us for having a cot in each of our rooms. So we actually had 3 of us in one room, Jess and I included, even though we're the married ones. And normally you'd think 2 and 2, but the one guy snores so bad that we decided 3 of us in one room and him by himself in the other room. So only 4 people. But 3 beds nonetheless. And the guy says, by the way, it's $300 extra for the charge of the cots. And I was like, we don't want those. There's only 4 of us here. We definitely don't need 2 cots. That's 5 beds for 4 people. I mean, not that he would really know it, but so we thought that was weird. Anyways, we pay and we head to the lake, and then we come back. And the first night we got back pretty late, I would say. I honestly don't remember the time. It's I don't check my phone too often at the cottage, and I'm not on it. I took off my Fitbit when I was
as you should, right? Like when you're at the cottage, you want to relax and unwind. You shouldn't be with technology as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. That's that's what I like about it. So we get back to the hotel, and on the door, we were in rooms 4 and 5. I was in room 4, and my one buddy was in room 5, and then obviously I was sharing my room with 2 other people. When we get back, there's a sign on the door that says James Harrison, come see the front desk. So I'm like, that's
my goodness.
I'm like, that's sorry, you have to maybe move closer to the mic, Rob.
Oh my goodness, I said.
Yeah, so I think I'm like, well, that's great. Everybody in here knows my name. There goes my privacy.
Yeah,
I know we're in a small town. It doesn't really matter, but at the same time. Right. So then get to the guy's like, that there's a family that needed that room. There was 2 beds in it, and a half kind of kitchen. I don't even think that there was much of a kitchen. And they moved us to a better room, but they moved all of our stuff. Every single thing. And so the one guy, Chris, his whole, like, he had unpacked stuff. So they had to put it back into his bag, like going through our personal property.
Oh my goodness.
And, we had been drinking, a lot or
Right.
whatever. So it was all a shock. And,
I would be so upset.
I was calm talking to the guy, but still
Right.
visibly ticked off.
Of course.
And it's all of us yelling at this 90-year-old man that owns the business. And he was just saying, like, I have you guys ever made a mistake? And I kept using the term, you came in and you robbed our stuff. And, he's like, no, I didn't rob it. It's all right here. Like, at the time, we hadn't gone through it yet to see, but, I wouldn't have left my money in there anyways. But what if I had? Or like, what if this? And there's so many things we could have left in there, like personal belongings. Because basically, I said, like, when we pay and we leave our information, that kind of thing, like, this is like a contract that I assume this room is not being broken into while I'm gone, at least not by the people who live here. And so they said they tried to call my dad, which I called him. He said, nope, not one missed phone call. And then they said, they didn't take my phone number down, which I thought was weird at the time, but how often is this a thing? And all of this so that this other family could just sleep in the room with the cot. But there was more room, and like they could have easily put a cot in our new room. Anyways, all of it very confusing. We ended up getting the first night comped, which like overall was about $250 maybe. So, I mean, kind of nice, but yeah, such a weird
that is
scenario.
So strange, man. That's the type of stuff that you would type up on a Yelp or Google review. It's like, don't go to this place if you want your stuff stolen.
Yeah, when you look at the reviews, like, not too far from town, sleeping was okay. Don't leave anything in there though, because the owner just pokes around, sees what you got.
And he may post your full name on the door.
And he posts that was just the cherry on top to try and get some sort of compensation. Because then my dad, we went golfing in the morning. My dad came in to just show him his phone. And this guy was like, I want you to hear the other side of the coin. Like, I made a mistake. These people really needed the place. We're like, what difference does that make? We needed the place.
Yeah. Or you call me first and then we can discuss it.
Yeah, because he had my dad's phone number. And the thing was, too, when we got there, no one answered the door. This 90-year-old man's probably having a nap. So no one answers the door. We're out loud kind of coming in. And then Alex goes to ring the bell at the desk. And I said to him, like, don't ring it in case he's like right there. We don't know what he's doing, right? Like, give it 30 more seconds, then we'll ring the bell. And so the time goes by. We ring the bell. Nothing happens. Then more people walk in. So Jess and Chris walk in, making more noise. Don't hear it. So I notice the phone's on the wall. So I call it. And then as I hear him answer the phone, I see somebody in the back. So I hang it up. But apparently everybody else saw that the phone said James Harrison calling. So like he had my phone number and he didn't call me.
Did you by any chance, when you were picking your destination to find this motel or whatever, did you end up in a town called Schitt's Creek at all?
I mean, it sounds like it, right? But the thing is, like, my family stayed here before because obviously we have a huge family. So back in the, my uncle got married. I was trying to figure out how young I was, but anyways, my family stayed there before. We knew where it was. It was the closest place to in town that had it, and like, if you try to look up an Airbnb for a cottage, I don't even know when we would have booked this because it was kind of the weekend after Canada Day, so we were nervous. There's only so many weekends in the summer, so I wouldn't have any other complaint besides the break-in was rubbed us the wrong way, obviously, but crazy time. But cottage was great though. Water was amazing. Hung out with my dad all weekend. Got to see some cousins. My cousin has this amazing trailer that's so nice on the inside, like big RV trailer. He
Nice.
just parked
That's
it
awesome.
out in the, like, my grandpa's yard for this cottage. The backyard is huge, and then the lakefront is awesome. There's good swimming. You can dive right in. On Sunday we took the boat. There's an island where my aunt and uncle have a cottage, so we went to go visit more family. They came over on the Saturday, and we went to go visit them again on the Sunday. But just kind of everything that I really wanted to do in one weekend, we did it. It was amazing.
That's amazing. And you know what? I think a lot of people nowadays are definitely looking forward to getting outside, and spending it with either friends or family or even both. And it sounds like you did exactly that in that one weekend, and just kind of get away. It's funny that you go through those negative experiences with, I would say, businesses and vendors that you deal with on those types of vacations, because every vacation's got some sort of BS story of something doesn't work out, some reservation doesn't work out, and it's just always nonsense. It sucks when you deal with it, but in the grand scheme of things, it sounded like you guys had a really relaxing, fun time. So that's awesome. I even saw like a little clip of you and your dad playing some beer pong there.
Played some beer pong.
Excellent. Yeah.
See, awesome. He doesn't drink, so I drank for the two of us.
Okay, right on.
But it was pretty close. We won a 2 out of 3 series, and then I think the next night we were 2-1, so, or 1-1. Anyway, nice. It was just pretty fun. I think that was his first time playing beer pong, I want to say.
That was his first time?
Yeah, it's not really a common thing. Like, although we had that ping pong table down there, we only use it for ping pong. Because most of the time, well, in the past, we've stayed at a different cottage, and not that, like, so that was my grandpa's cottage.
But that's not his first time playing beer pong.
I think so.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah, it's not like he has a son that's won awesome. The title, so it's not.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
that's great, man. Yeah, that looked like you guys had a blast. Yeah, I can't wait.
It was awesome, and Jess and I got shot. So Jess, Chris, and I actually all got the shot on the same day last Wednesday. Obviously it's still 2 weeks before you're supposed to fully go out and into the world, and it was funny because on Instagram today I was talking to Jess about it, and I saw an Arkell's. They're playing Budweiser stage, I guess August 13th and 14th.
Okay,
nice. So I said, do you want to go to this? Because when we move to the States at some point, the Arkells aren't going to be hitting Seattle as frequently as they're going to be playing Toronto and Hamilton.
Sure.
And, being from Hamilton, and they went to the same university that Jess and I went to, that it would be cool to, kind of go see them one more time. But she had said, I don't know, it could be soon. I guess when you, after your second shot, do you think that you'll be going to places like a concert and just soaking it all up because you've missed it? Or are you going to be in there like, this is too soon for me? Because I know some people have said when they watch, something on TV, and it's a TV show and it shows a concert, from in the past, right?
Right.
And they're like, I don't know if I could go back to that. Like, picture Budweiser stage, especially, like those chairs they're pretty close together, right? Like, you pack you in so they can get as many as possible. So how do you feel about that right now?
I think, having that we've both done our full series of shots, and we've already waited 14 days and everything is fine health-wise. I would love to definitely go to a concert. Now, that being said, would I be worried? Yeah, I'm sure there's a varying amount of concern whether you get COVID or not. Obviously with the vaccination, the whole reason is that you have a level of protection that is, you can fight it off or not get it. Or if you do get it, the symptoms aren't as serious as they could be. I think, I would go, but maybe not in a sit down arena right away, maybe an outdoor event where you can be spread out a little bit. If I ever was in an arena, it'd be with a mask on for sure. And I'm sure like any venue, that would be the initial requirement. And it's kind of weird too, because, what is the outlook for these types of venues when you want to go to a concert? Are they going to require a mask, or are they going to require that you're vaccinated? Right. I saw that in the news the other day. Like the Seneca College is requiring students and faculty staff to have the vaccination before returning to their, class, physical in class, right? So,
go back to campus at all, because that way you want everyone to be protecting each other.
I love music, and I miss concerts, and I was always look forward to music. The one thing that I like about being in the Toronto area is that there's so many local bands that you could just go into some sort of dive bar and just check out and listen to some like a really amazing musicians. And I really do miss that a lot. So, I feel like I do want to go out and support the music industry a lot more because, they've been hurting for a year and a half. It's a hard question to answer, I would say for sure.
Because
it's a good question.
For me, I didn't really think of it. I thought of, I'll be healthy. Still only the two of us in the house.
Yeah.
All my parents, everybody will be good by then. I can picture getting there and having it be a little weird, or, being in a lineup to get a beer, or in the bathroom. The bathroom is to me where I'm going to be like, okay, well, this is disgusting. Like there's, how many people at a concert, how many in the men's room do you really see them wash their hands? I see people just walk in and out of there all the time. People 100%. Are just pissing all over the floor. Then I watch people do the half wash, where they're like, they don't want to just walk right out, so they just like put some water on there.
They get embarrassed.
Man, I am good to go. So I can picture that being super weird, like when we get back to it. But I think I'm overall pretty excited too, and we've talked about it before. Like you're even wearing a Tool shirt now, I think. Of course. Yeah, of course. That obviously, and even when we had Nick on, we were talking about how important music is to us. So it's it's such a cool thing live. And you know what? Actually, do you remember the last live show you saw in person?
That would be a Tool concert. Thank you.
What was the date?
It was the January or something like that.
Because I think, didn't we?
Oh, no. Actually, sorry, I'm wrong. I did see a Tool show, but I actually saw a Devin. This is kind of weird talking about this now. I saw a Devin Townsend concert. For those of you who don't know who Devin Townsend is, he's an amazing Canadian musician. Ranges from ambient music to heavy metal to hard rock. Awesome.
I think you mentioned them that you and Terry watched a concert,
progressive rock and all that.
Yeah.
We're big fans. He's got a huge catalog, massive catalog of music. But anyways, we ended up watching a Devin Townsend concert at the Phoenix in Toronto, and it was sardines. It was so packed. We couldn't move anywhere. And even, I know you know the Phoenix, but even at the back where the bar is, it's usually pretty open. You can kind of move around. No, it was sardines that far back.
That's crazy.
And it was pretty cool because it was like, wow, he's getting huge. I like seeing that. I like seeing like, your favorite artists getting so big that the venue's just packed.
It works like two different ways though to me. One way is it's cool to watch them grow. And the other is, hey, remember that time when you and I saw Dallas Green and he wasn't City and Call yet? He was Dallas Green. And then he just sold out 5 shows in Toronto or something not too long ago. So like as much as it's cool, at the same time, it's like,
it's bittersweet.
We had it pretty good.
Yeah, it's bittersweet. But yeah, like so that was the last concert, and that was February, and then like the official COVID, like that was March, I would say 13th, 11th, something like that. But it was like February, then we saw the Devin Townsend concert. That was the last concert.
Trying to think of mine.
So so that's pretty cool. Like 2 of my favorite bands. I saw 2 of my favorite bands before the lockdown.
If you never see another one, you went out on top. You went out on top of your concert viewing, like who you'd want to see, maybe in order. I'm sure you'd want to see, who's next for you. Perfect Circle, Deftones, if we just go down the Robbie list of your, but but for some reason I wanted to say, and I thought it might be for both of us, I couldn't remember. Do you remember seeing my brother-in-law play in Toronto?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we saw him at that bar, that local bar there.
The Rex,
I was like, it was a jazz bar.
Yeah, great jazz bar.
And Hamilton, that spot in Hamilton that we went to as well, where it was like underground.
Oh, maybe that's the last one I saw then.
Was that the last one?
I thought there was one where it was me, you, Nick, Jess, and Rocco. And anyways, this is all just to go back to your point about, great live music. Like not to really plug him, but he is really, really talented. My brother-in-law, his name's Rob Capoletto. You can look up his music online. But
where can we find his music online?
I'm sure YouTube, Instagram, the usual.
How do we spell Rob Capoletto?
Cappelletto. Nice try.
Well, just help him out a little bit. Give the audience a little bit.
Yeah, so
a little boost.
But anyways, he's really, really amazing. But it just goes to show you, because I've been to that place before, and he's done I think a trio and a usually a quartet. But just the idea of being able to see that much good live music is, to go back to what you're saying about living in Toronto, is why it's so cool if you love live music. It's a good city for it. I'm sure there's more, obviously. I've been to Nashville, and that was amazing. And I don't even really like country. It's so cool to watch so many people be so talented and be performing.
Going back to your point of like whether you're going to go back into concerts and how early, I would say it definitely does depend on, what's going to be said about opening up venues, the numbers, the rate of who's being tested and all that, the positivity rate. And then eventually, you're going to be double vaccinated for a long period of time. You have to outweigh how long you want to live your life in fear of not going out to these venues once it gets a little bit more comfortable for the general public, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I'd say, to you, like if this Arkell show was this weekend, maybe it's a little bit too early.
It wouldn't even be within the 2 weeks for us, so like definitely turned down. But if it was right after it, I don't know. And again, like you said, because this one's sort of weird because it has that indoor seating feel, but it's outdoors. Having said that, I think that the Blue Jays are supposed to start playing at the Sky Dome again, or Rogers Center, excuse me. And I'd love to go see.
Please, Sky Dome.
It's a Sky Dome, yeah.
It's a Sky Dome.
I'd love to go see a Blue Jays game, but the thing about that is, for sure, that place holds 50,000 people. If I want to go see a game and just kind of get back into the energy of what it's like, I can buy a ticket probably pretty cheap on the very top and not sit near anybody the whole time.
Sure.
It'd be different, I think, at the concert where everyone is literally singing along, spitting on each other. Yeah, these are the concerts I go to.
I've definitely had some mosh pit experiences back in my day where I've had other people's sweat on me. So totally get it. And
even if you're being nice and it's not that kind of thing in like out in the field or whatnot, or on the lawn, it's called the Budweiser stage. It's you're still just around so many people for the first time. I think I'm looking forward to doing it, but it'll still be interesting that first time, and I don't have the anxiety the way that certain people are going to have it. So it's just an interesting concept, of like, now we got the double dose and you feel like you're invincible until you see 100 other people and you're like, I don't know how, now we'll test this thing out. So interesting anyway.
Speaking of seeing things live, though, which was pretty cool, this happened to me last night. I actually went to go see our friend Greg's brother, Gabe. He is a soccer coach for the... I'm not sure if I should say where exactly, his permission. So he's a soccer coach, to say, for a local team. And it was really cool because, Greg invited us out to view his brother's team and cheer them on and all that. And I had a blast, man. It was so much fun. And
fresh off the Italy win too, like the next night, and everyone's there. It's a cool kind of pump up, to get back into live soccer. Was that the first game of his season?
First game of the season. It was really big, and it was awesome. It was an outdoor. There was a bar there, but it was outdoor patio too. So it was like the first outdoor patio thing that I've done. Yeah, as well.
Oh, okay. What are you talking? I was at a patio with you 2 weekends ago.
Sorry. Well, okay, you're absolutely right. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Man! So how many?
The second outdoor patio thing that I've done.
I wonder how many concerts you've seen since after Tool that I just don't know about, that I can't list off for you. Yeah, I haven't seen anything since Tool except for these 5.
Yeah.
Haven't been to a patio except for here, and here.
I listen to a lot of music. It all just gets draining.
Yeah. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like obviously I've known Greg and Gabe for a long time. It was really cool because it was the first time I've seen him cheer his team on, and I just like his girls scored a goal, and then he just yelling them from the sidelines like, all right, let's get back in it, let's attack that center, and like
nice.
It was so cool. It's just getting them riled up and all that, and having that energy. And there was quite a bit of a crowd there, in the big provincial soccer game. It was awesome to see. But yeah, saw it with Greg, and of course, unbeknownst to me, our friends Wheeler and Tori showed up, and it was awesome seeing them and just catching up with them.
That's awesome.
After a long period of time, and they brought their dog and all that, so it was really cool seeing them, chilling with them.
Yeah, I guess I was jealous that I couldn't go. Like I was honestly thinking. Actually, it's funny because we had just driven back from the cottage on Monday, so to drive back that area would have been a lot of driving. A lot of driving that day. But again, I haven't seen Gabe in a long time, and Greg and Gabe. And their other brother, like they're like my brothers, I spent so much time at their house. I call his mom my mom, and she calls me her son. And it would be cool to see him in that moment because he's kind of been a leader like that for a long time. Well, he's definitely been a leader like that for a long time. I've always known him to be in that role, but maybe not seen it so much in action with an actual team. Because he's always been trying to, he used to try to create like hockey leagues, but street hockey leagues with just kids around the neighborhood. And, he'd be organizing it and trying to plan the teams and certain games and that kind of thing. And, obviously that's really tough. He used to try and play hockey with us when we were younger. Obviously his whole family, like Greg's whole family, they basically ran Aurora soccer for a long time. I think his dad was a convener of the whole league. I want to say his mom knows everybody in the town. So one of the so then even, that's why when I got to high school, everybody knew that family, the three brothers and coming down. So, pretty cool. I definitely would have wanted to have been there to support him. Hopefully maybe I will get out to one, in August or something sometime.
Well, funny that you say that. I'm sure he'll love hearing this because he did mention to me that he loves listening to the podcast. So,
no way.
He is. That was a shock to me too. I was like, oh wow, you listen to podcasts? That's awesome. I have no idea he knew about it. So really cool. And Gabe, if you're hearing this, had a great time last night, buddy, and definitely would love to check out your games again live. I think he actually mentioned he had one near my house. Coming up in a couple of weeks, so we'll see him again for sure.
Do you know how far his the scope is of like where he might have? Because now I'm thinking, maybe if there's one out this way. I just
he did mention Windsor at one point, so I don't know where exactly, but shoot him a message and he'll let you know. He's got a bunch of games starting to get lined up here. So
well, if there's ones in Windsor, then there's going to be ones for sure. In like at least some area, right? So that'd be pretty cool.
One note I would want to point though, like because you mentioned that he's geared up a bunch of these games when you guys were kids, is the importance of physical education and how cool is that? Like he is, let alone Gabe being a leader in his girls' soccer team right now. He was a leader before, right? He was trying to get you guys outside and trying to get you guys moving and all that. So that's really cool, and I think that's what's missing a lot of these days around. I would say your local community is just getting kids out there and playing games, and whether it's hockey, soccer, whatever, sports and all that. Like that's really cool, and that speaks to his character. So,
do you did you know Gabe has his own podcast as well? I don't know if they do. Like
he does, yeah.
I think it's called Skip the Friends.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, it's all about sports. Like all the episodes I've ever listened to it, and Gabe, one of the more knowledgeable people I know that about sports. Trying to suck up to the big bro here, but I think he also has the ability to be honest about his own team. as opposed to other people. Like, you know what? People hate Toronto Maple Leaf fans because they just think that they're like, oh, every decision we make is the best decision ever. And then 10 years later, they'll say, that guy was an idiot. We should have done this. Gabe can say in the moment, like whether or not he thinks this is a good move, or we'll have to wait and see, or I think why this. So it's pretty interesting to hear his thoughts on all that. And but yeah, Skip the Friends podcast, I believe.
There you go. The last final note I had, it occurred today. Ended up crying, I ended up crying. Yes. My wife ordered 3 online courses for my son, which included English, music, and math. So I see him on this little laptop today. He's got a headset on and he's talking to the teacher and all that. I look at my wife and I'm like, I'm gonna cry right now. This is like
so proud,
such a proud. Yeah, because he's like, this is something I was
amazing,
expecting,
buddy.
I was expecting like September, and like when he goes to school, like I told Chairs, like when he goes to school in September, and I go back to the house and it's empty, like I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna be so emotional. But man, I was just watching him like, oh my god, answer the teacher's questions and just following along, and he was learning different scales on this like on the website. He's like clicking the different scales, playing Mary Had a Little Lamb on this like flash animation piano thing.
Oh, cool!
Website.
Yeah.
It's so cool. That's awesome, man.
He loved it. Day 1 was amazing.
So English was a little bit. He fell through like half an hour into there were an hour per course.
Mm-hmm.
So English, he lost interest half an hour into it. He's 4 years old.
Right? Yeah.
but music, he was loving the music. He was loving playing with the piano and the different strings. Like it was a little website where you can play with different instruments and the different notes and all that. And then next week he's got math. And they're going to learn on the abacus, which we have one for him. So, yeah, pretty cool, man.
That's awesome, buddy. That's such a cool moment.
Dad proud moment. Yeah.
Good for you for the family. It's a cool.
Someone's cutting up onions in here.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. And of course, looking forward to September. When he's officially going back to school, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for my wife. Obviously, she's gonna have a lot more time to focus on her business and her photography and make more sales and all that. So it's gonna be good all around. But yeah, definitely gonna be emotional.
Yeah.
The
right kind of emotions,
Yeah, good emotions for sure. And on that note, I think we'll end it here for sure, though, buddy. This has been episode 27 of the Crushing Through Life. This has been episode 27 of the Crushing Through Life podcast with your hosts, Rob and Jim. And thank you so much for listening. Please follow us. Check us out on linktree.com/crushingthroughlife, where you can find all of our socials. Take care and have a great day.
Have a good one.